God's kingdom priority is for all people everywhere to hear the gospel so that people from all nations would believe. God's plan for his people is for them to grow. God's Son Jesus is at the centre of all his plans. There is also the reality that some areas of Sydney, Australia and the world have less access to Jesus or less access to resources to help them grow. How does this affect our thinking about where we church as we try and live for the kingdom? What does God have to say about church? Well, a definition of church is used in the New Testament by a Greek word, ecclesia, which literally means gathering or assembly. Church is simply the gathering of God's people. Ultimately, the great multitude of God's people from all nations will gather around God's throne when Jesus returns. However, for now, God's people gather regularly in smaller, local meetings, and it is these gatherings that we mean when we talk about church. But what is the purpose of church? Ephesians 4 tells us that Jesus is gifting the church, and through each member playing their part, speaking the truth in love, the church is involved in reaching the lost. Jesus is at the centre of God's plans for the church. He is the head of the church. Decisions about where we choose where to go to church are usually tied up with decisions that we think are most important. For example, where we live and where we work. Usually people make decisions in this order: find a job, find somewhere to live close to work, find a church close to where you live. However, perhaps seeking first God's kingdom and his righteousness would cause you to make decisions in the opposite order. Decide which church to attend, find somewhere to live close to church, find a job within reach of where you live. Too often, we make decisions about church based on its size, the style of music, the time of service, or how many people are there that are our age. Yet imagine if we chose church on the basis of going to serve, how we could meet a need amongst God's people, or how the extension of God's kingdom would be the priority. In what ways do your values about church need to change to align with God's kingdom?